Okay. Hello, friends. So today, myself Srikanth here, and we have a guest, Mr. Nilesh Kulkarni, and I had an opportunity to work with him in my earlier companies. So before I introduce, let's go through Nilesh's LinkedIn profile. So Nilesh Kulkarni, let's see Nilesh's experience. So he has worked as a software engineer in SNS Technologies, and then senior system analyst QA lead in Synerzip, and then SunGuard QA architect. Okay. Then he has worked in Finstra technical manager automation, and in ConnectWise he was there for 4 years 7 months. So I had an opportunity to work with him in ConnectWise, and currently he's working in HP as a expert automation. So yeah, welcome to the podcast, Nilesh. Over to you now. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I have around more than 20 years of industry experience, and primarily I worked with domains such as BFSI, as well as healthcare, and then payments domain, and some other domains as well. And When I say that I have 20 years of experience, recently I've been working on as an expert as well as QA architect, and primarily in the role of getting involved into almost all phases of the software development lifecycle, from design to functional uh, DevOps, DevSecOps, functional, non-functional areas, as well as customer interaction. So I've been involved in all these phases, and as well as to talk about some of the highlights in my career is that I actually was involved in building a kind of award-winning framework called Proviso, which was a customized framework for a very complex payment processing system. Then under and also was kind of participated where using AI and related open source technology, we could actually reduce around 20 to 40% of automation work. And then on other aspects such as where we were able to scale up the application from 10 times to 20 times uh, in terms of the performance and the ability to take load with the use of infrastructure, how we planned infrastructure and all those things. So that this is overall the way I have the professional experience. And when I'm not working, I'm mostly travel, and I believe experiences help you to grow. So that's all about me.
Okay. Yeah, sounds very interesting based on your sort of experience. So let's get started on the agenda. So typically, this is the thing which I start with every guest. So if you are supposed to conduct an interview for QE or QE role, for let's say junior or senior or a lead role, so what are the top 2 to 3 things you are expecting from the person?
So based on what kind of experience you are, like if you start with a junior person or person who has around 1 or 2 years of experience, the focus is more on the logic part, and what is the curiosity, also in terms of how to find the defects, uh, how you find the loopholes, and also to have a certain extent of somewhat understanding of the automation, test automation tools, like uh, basic tools like Postman and so forth and so on. And if you go more on the senior level, then uh, the focus would be know to show the clean code, and what is the understanding of framework architecture as such. Then if you go to a lead load role, then we probably would discuss the metrics, ROI, how to handle cross team dependencies, and all those relevant aspects. Okay. And for an architect level, it is all about selling the vision, and you will say how you do the future proof the company's tech stack for the next, related to quality as such, for next 3 4 years, and talk about that. So this is how I would go for from junior to architect level. This kind of areas would be focused in terms of the interviews for this level of guys.
Okay, sounds interesting and good to learn. Let's move on to the next topic, the core agenda, because you have been in an architect role in my when we were interacting. So let's start with this.
Yeah.
Um, so the architect's mindset, right? So from bug hunting to system design and testability. So what are your views on it, and then how do we utilize this?
Yeah, thanks, Vikrant. Great place to start. Is basically the fundamental difference between maybe a QA lead some sort of a mindset to a kind of architect mindset, right? So, in terms of the QA, senior or a lead level often react and focus on finding bugs in current sprint and all, where the architect is it's more of a proactive kind of a it's lean towards designing the what is the design of the system and prevent the bugs at a scale. Okay, the biggest shift is moving from how do we test this feature to how do we design this how the design of the entire system is, so that it is inherent testable, okay, and observable, right? So for example, uh, basically the QE senior QE person or the lead probably influencing the agile teams and product owners, but you can't just ask them to prioritize testability because it sounds like an extra work from you, right? So you have to sell the ROI and frame it like mitigation or speed of delivery. And if add this to architect as a hook, like for example, in some cases, if you want to make the quality as a part of the quality inbuilt quality, as you call it, right? Then in that case you have to have some hooks that or maybe quality gates. How do we start with as a part of the entire flow, like bringing the shifting left, bringing the things where you finding the issues right from the beginning of the cycle itself, right? And it is more of like you can just say that how it is actually better than you're doing totally relying on the regression part of it, right? So you start finding the issues right from the beginning of the cycle, and uh, the regression becomes more of a where you can find defects which are not obvious ones, right?
Hmm.
So that is the basically I would say the shift between the mindset from being going from senior QA or lead to the architect side of it.
Yeah, sounds interesting. The early, so the point you mentioned about the shift left, I have experienced this, and
Yeah,
it was highly productive in terms of reducing the entire life cycle, entire the defect life cycle and those things. So if it is coming from the architect's point of view, then it is good and should be implemented. I agree.
right, right.
Mm. Moving on, so distributed system, contract testing, again, shift left and cross team sign-offs. Yeah, what are your views on it?
Yeah, I think that is one of the things. So in my experiences, I was part of where the product was going from the phases of being a monolith to a distributed system, right? So I was part of this journey, and I learned quite a lot of things and understood the differences and how it is different altogether. So distributed systems are are the reality in modern microservice architecture, and they introduce a whole new set of challenges. Okay, when a system relies on B, a system B, and which relies on C, your traditional relation suits breaks down. Okay, so we need a robust strategy of interdependencies handling, and this involves something like integration testing, what we call as a contract testing and all, right? And also, as I mentioned, right, some of the things when you are talking about microservice, like, so microservice itself is an independent application which is actually interacting with other systems, right? So doing a microservice level, for example, if you when you go for the non-functional areas like performance test, you can have a quick performance test, like we can call it as a smoke test done on that, right? Also, even if it has an interaction, then you can have something called as mocks and all, which we using what you can do the testing of individual unit, even before you go for a larger testing it as a system, right? So that is a major difference here. Now there are certain tests, I would see are kind of come into picture when you are in, especially doing any kind of assessment for distributor system. For example, what is the relationship between the fault tolerance and failover, right? So such kind of things, where what comes into picture is the resiliency part of it. So when you're going for distributor system, these are some of the areas that comes into more focus, like resiliency and chaos testing and so forth and so on, right? So
Yeah.
this is again a major difference that I would say. um, and again, like distance responsibilities move into development community, developers should, and then again in these such cases developers should be more involved into uh, function integration tests as well, right? Then the sign off becomes an automated pipeline gate, right? Not meeting with the two managers, right? So everything has to be part of the what we call it as a continuous testing, right? So that these are the main basic differences, I would say, when it comes to distributed systems, right?
Okay. Just want to expand on this contract testing because it is a bit important. So could you have a use case and mention, like, say this is a use case and this is how contract testing can be done. For example, Swagger files. We can make use of Swagger files in contract testing.
Yeah, so there are different ways how the contract testing happens, right? So for example, you have a service A, right? Now service A is being let's talk from service B. So you have service A, service B, and service C, right? So B is actually making when the B service is being called, it actually to send a response, it needs input from service C, right? Then it gets the input from there and processes it and send back the response to the caller, that is service A. Okay, so this is kind of a what we call as a chaining, right? So in this case, what happens is that if there is an what we call usually is a preferred way is a consumer driven contract test. So what is a consumer driven contract test is basically the service who is actually consuming, okay, should define the what is the expected response for them, okay, and that should be passed on as a test to the provider. So in this case, if C is depending on B, so C should send what is the expected response to B. And whenever there is a change, any change happen at the provider should execute this test and make sure that what the format of response C is expecting, is there any break into that, right? So this is what we call as a contract testing, right? And probably this is very important when you have services where there are a lot of interdependencies, and primarily there is some cases where such contracts, breaking contracts, will result into uh, some issues in the production as well.
Yeah. So something which is important. Okay, right. Moving on, so open source powerhouse, right? So many companies I have seen they go for paid tool and then somehow they end up in open source based automation approaches. For example, Karate or Java, Python, rest assured, Playwright. So this Playwright is the latest trend. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you want to say about it?
So I think you don't need to need expensive proprietary tools to achieve world-class automation right nowadays. So the open source ecosystem right now is incredibly powerful, right? We use an assessment frameworks built on a blend of tools, right? So one thing that we can think of is never go for one tool solution, even if for the open source, because you have uh, a combination of open source tools which we can use in combination and achieve whatever goals you want in terms of automation. That is possible, right? So for example, for API testing, right, you have rest assured or even karate. In some cases there are certain ways where you can actually achieve the functional and non-functional areas, like for example karate, or for that matter a new tool which is kind of coming is called as K6, right? So that also you can use for where you write a single test which will be used for the functional testing, and that basic functional test, a same script can be used for the performance execution. Okay, so such things are there, right? And when you talk about latest tools like Selenium is a very popular tool, right? However, there is new tools are coming out, like let's say Playwright, right? Cypress and Playwright. But we when you look at a building assessment frameworks today, the open source is where the real innovation is happening, right? So for me, we heavily are kind of leaning towards Cypress and Playwright, right? So Cypress is there are again some slight differences between this, right? So Cypress is our go-to for developer-centric testing and component testing, and all-in-one kind of a nature, and real-time debugging, making it incredibly fast for sprint level work, right? However, when we need a true cross-browser support, like WebKit or Safari, or complex multi-tab iframe kind of interactions, Playwright is a heavy hitter, right? And it's the ability of executing test cases in parallelly with almost zero overhead is a game changer for shrinking the CI/CD windows, right? So what the my point is basically when we're talking about any open source thing, you should have bring this mindset of what you want to achieve. Your goal is more important, and based on that, you should go and select the tool accordingly. So if you have where you want to support a broader flavor of browsers, then you should go for a particular open source tool, right? And then how it does support the CI/CD as well, because that is now an important aspect, because now we are going towards having the gates shifting to left and all those things, right? So that, I would say, that is more of a thinking anybody should do when we go for any open source kind of tool selection, or the way we want to look at it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so comparison is very important, and of course, we cannot other to just use one open source. We have to explore, especially when there are multiple projects, multiple. It's a distributed system, so yeah, we need to explore more. And obviously, as you said, not depend on one particular, even if it is open source, not depend on one tool. Okay, yeah. Now the elephant in the room, the AI ML. Um, so
Hmm.
AI ML leap, so now because lot of automation or AI images are available. There are a lot of auto code generation things are available.
Right.
Yeah, self-healing and predictive analysis, data generation. What are your views on it?
So this is where the things get a little bit exciting. We have been people who are working on the QE and engineering side and all. So we are moving beyond kind of a reactive testing right now, right? Where we wait for a build to run test and to predictive quality engineering. Then, so for this, we can actually leverage AI/ML in several transformative ways, right? Uh, so first, maybe for example, test data generation, right? Manual data generation is a could be a huge bottleneck, right? So ML can analyze production data, just an example, schemas, and generate realistic or anonymous data sets, and that can speed up the things a little bit. Then probably there are certain aspects where the AML can be useful is the flakiness, bringing down the flakiness. That, and in most of the cases, people are using open source libraries for for self healing kind of a frameworks, right? So these are some of the areas definitely can be worked upon. Then going beyond that is now we have to also take consider of AI agents also, right? So autonomously they can work, and how do we leverage these things to speed up basically the how do we go about automating certain things, right? AI is not the solution as such, it is an aid, as we can say, right? But definitely it can help us to reduce all our efforts, and that's how it should be looked upon. Yeah, I think that's I would probably say.
Yeah, so the AI tools or even MCPs, so GitHub Copilot, Cursor, and Olama, there are so many things available.
Yes.
Even I've tried couple of things. They are pretty much okay, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, I mean, it's a plethora of open source things are available there, and uh, basically when you think again, I mean, I would say even in case of tooling, automation, or AI, we should have our objective clear. Rather than going for a tools, let's say we what is the objective here, right? So if the objective is that, first of all, we need to find out, come up with the areas where the AI can be practically implemented, right? So, and then based on that, when we can go for tools, like certain tools could be very specific for a specific use, even for the AI models as such, right? You know that AI models are definitely have a different purpose, ML models, right? So depending based on that, so result analysis, you can go for kind of chat GPT and all those things. So there are certain different models where if you go for the where you want to have automated programming assistance to be done, so you go for another model, right? So based on what you want to do, you can go for it. So before you even go for choosing what to be used as a AML tool, make a good understanding, or get to the understanding of why I want to use it, where do I want to use it, right? And then based on that, we can go and keep create a strategy of how do we go about it, right? So that could be a good approach, I would say.
okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, so moving on, so the bottom line, ROI, report portal, and manual triage. Yeah, so ROI is bit important even if at higher level. Um, so what kind of ROI you want to mention here, like in terms of bug prediction?
um So I think it's a kind of rapid everything what we discuss. Everything what we just discuss is kind of related to mindset tools and AI, boils down to the one thing, right? The ROI of the automation, right? So the return isn't just about saving time on the manual testing as such, right? So it's all about faster time to market, reduce the production outage, freeing up the our engineers to work in on innovation and not maintenance, right? So when we talk again, I'm emphasizing on the things that when we talk about AI, it is more of an aid where we can actually free up the time to focus on other things. How do we make it possible that the continuous testing becomes a reality, right? So when we say continuous testing, is that the testing is happening on a very regular basis and more on the shift left, and the things are on the automated way. And once we handle that sort of thing, then what remains are the areas which are need to be explored further, which are could not be explored, right? So I we know that now it is maybe lesser, but what we say, we talk about sprint, right? So we want to do all the testing as far as possible in sprint zero also, right? So or sprint one at the most. So for us to achieve that, we have to think of all these things to achieve and get an ROI. We have to have our mindset, tools, and AI, everything bring together and apply it so that we get the actual ROI of things. Again, not in terms of saving manual testing. I'm again saying, whatever even we do in the automation testing, how do we make sure that it is actually done in a such a way that uh, we are it is resulting into faster time to market, right? So that is how we should look into this.
Okay. Yeah. Not only one factor, but multiple factors for the ROI. Okay. Yeah. The report portal part, I think you have attended some seminars or something, no? So report portal. So what is your
Yes,
take
yes.
on that?
So I was exactly, yes, yeah. So I was kind of also contributed in open source community in for the report portal as well, and other tools, open source tools. Uh, okay, so basically, what I would say is that. Report portal is one of the things, like, so I think report portal is one where actually AI has been used for decision making, right? So whenever there is a to close the gap between when you actually automation execution happens, you have to analyze the still the analysis of the results, whether it was an issue of the script or whether it's a system issue or whether it's a product issue or not, that for that bringing down that time of analysis is where probably I would say report portal is one of the, and there are other tools as well, but it is one of the tools where which actually helps you to save that time, right? So I would say from the analysis point of view also, the reporting of automation suite itself can be considered here. That would I can tell you. Yeah.
Okay. And the last part, the manual triage. So triaging thing, I'm sure must be attending many of the triages. So is there
Yes.
any way we can improve on it, or any process we can implement?
So I think it again also, yeah, there is. I mean, everybody knows manual triage and all. So one important thing what I want to bring in is basically categorization, right? So it boils down to one more thing, okay, where you have a huge set of test as a part of your regression, right? But if you can prioritize it, okay, you make a smaller chunk with the p0, p1, p2, p3, and p4, and more onto the risk based kind of a risk based analysis, right? And once you have that, the triaging process also gets streamlined, okay, because you know that I'm finding these things beforehand, which are of a high impact, right? And I think that is where it starts before the actual that stage. So I would say having this in your strategy will make the triaging also a simpler process, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So in the interest of time, let's have some other points. So
yeah.
I need to have a rapid fire question. In the interest of time. So yeah, Cypress or Playwright. What is your pick?
uh, a good question. I think playwright. The native cross-border support and incredible speed, auto awaiting features make it superior choice for scaling modern and complex web application. And it's built for speed for today's CI/CD pipelines as well. Not that Cypress is not behind, but it has a slight advantage to Cypress. That what I say. Yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest quality killer in agile teams?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think quality killer is testing in silo, right? So I think when quality is seen as a phase at the end of the sprint rather than a shared responsibility from the first line of the code, you are already lost, right? So shift left isn't a buzzword, okay? It's a survival requirement. That's what I say. Yeah.
Okay. Will AI agents eventually replace the QA engineer? It's the elephant in the room question.
Yeah, yeah, elephant in the room. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I think uh, I would say they will replace the testers, but not the engineers. Okay, so AI will handle the repetitive scripting and triaging, but we will always need engineering leaders to define why. And even QA architects and QAs with the engineering mindset, I would say, right? And the strategies and overseeing the reasoning of those agents, as I mentioned, right? So I think, as I said, it's an aid. I would look at it as an aid, more of a replacement.
Okay. Best metric to measure the ROI in automation.
Um, Best metric to measure automation. I think it is probably time to feedback, right? It's not about how many bugs you found, right? It's about how fast a developer knows their change is safe, right? So if your automation doesn't shrink your cycle time, it's not providing the ROI. That I would say, right? So it's more about how we are helping the developer to find it quickly and fix it quickly. That is where the ROI is what matters. I would say, right?
Okay. Yeah, looks very practical. Uh, One open source tool that every QA leader should investigate right now.
Okay. I would say, so everybody, LangChain or AutoGPT, okay, for testing. Don't look for a testing tool, I would say. Look for the frameworks that build AI agents, okay? So understanding how to orchestrate LLMs to crawl your application or generate playwright scripts autonomously is the biggest leap you can take towards predictive quality engineering, right? So I would say go for this kind of tools which will help you. Now we are thinking more on the AI side, right?
Okay. So, thanks, Nilesh. So it was a very quite interesting discussion, and I hope there will be a lot of takeaways from this particular podcast. Um, so yeah, I mean, if time permits, we'll have one more session if possible. But yes,
Yes,
thanks for joining in and thanks for your sharing your knowledge.
yes, sure. I think the last thing I would like line over to leave is one thing is for everybody probably help in the QA point of view. More you must move past from finding defects to demonstrate an engineering mindset. So if that works, that would be really the thing to go for. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you for your time. And please like and share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.